Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Curse of Oak Island? The team finds strong evidence of a pre-Columbus visit to the island. The Curse of Oak Island team was still in Italy for this week's episode, and they found strong evidence of a voyage by sailors close to Templar Knights to the area of Oak Island, nearly 100 years before Columbus reached America. Rick Lagina and the guys were in Italy to research the long-held theory that members of the medieval order of Templar Knights hid treasure and ancient Christian relics on Oak Island. The Templars had been a powerful order charged with protecting Christians in the Holy Land, but at the beginning of the 14th century, they fell from favor and were persecuted and disbanded. The guys now believe that the Templars transported a quantity of treasure from Jerusalem through Italy, France, and Scotland, and finally deposited it on Oak Island long before Christopher Columbus's infamous voyage. Rick and the guys met up with Professor Andrea Pyrabalent at the American University of Rome, where they learned about the voyages of the Zeno brothers, who many believe traveled to North America in the 1390s. Pyrabalent, an expert on pre-Columbian voyages to America, explained that Antonio and Niccolo Zeno were two merchant sailors from Venice who sailed up to Scotland and the Faroe Islands in search of trade. Did a 14th century Scottish Templar knight sail to Oak Island? The Zeno brothers then met up with and began working for the Scottish prince, Henry Sinclair, who was known as a Templar Knight sympathizer. Some historians have previously credited Sinclair with traveling to North America with saved Templar treasure. However, Pyrabalent produced a map created by a Zeno descendant in 1558, which showed the Zeno brothers' voyage. And incredibly, the map shows an edge of Newfoundland and Nova Scotia. The professor also revealed another map from the late 17th century that actually credited Antonio Zeno with discovering Canada. The guys saw this as clear evidence that individuals connected with the Templar Knights could have visited Oak Island in the 14th century. The Oak Island team wasn't finished there, though. They headed to an old Templar church in the town of Viterbo to examine the symbols on the walls. Here, they came across a carving of a cross with 4 dots, similar to the infamous H.O. stone. The H.O. stone, found on Oak Island in the 1920s, was thought to be a marker and was so called because it featured 2 symbols that looked like an H and an O with a cross and 4 dots in between. Templar Knight expert Gianluca de Prospero told the guys that the cross with the 4-dot symbol was used by the Knights to indicate ancient relics were placed nearby. Alex Lagina says the H.O. stone could be a Templar marker. Alex had a brainwave when he found a carving on a pillar that read HIC and was informed that hic means here in Latin. The younger Lagina noted the similarity of the carving to the one on the H.O. stone and speculated that the Oak Island stone may actually read, "Here is Templar treasure." It's a fascinating theory and definitely one that will have to be further explored. Meanwhile, back on an increasingly rain-soaked Oak Island, winter is rapidly approaching. The Dumas Mining Company finally reached and secured the bottom of the garden shaft. Marty Lagina and Charles Barkhouse traveled 82 feet down to the bottom, where they were both blown away by the excitement of actually getting below ground in the money pit area. Marty said, "The treasure hunt begins now." The morning mist clung to the trees of Oak Island, swirling like ancient spirits reluctant to let go of their secrets. The Lagina brothers, Rick and Marty, stood at the edge of the infamous money pit, their breath visible in the chilly air. Today felt different. Today, there was an electric charge in the atmosphere, as if the island itself knew something monumental was about to be uncovered. Rick's fingers traced the worn edges of a map, a relic of their many years of questing. The parchment was fragile, nearly translucent in places, but it had led them to this very moment. "I've got a feeling about today," he said, his voice hushed, reverent. Marty nodded, his usual skepticism softened by the same unspoken hope that seemed to grip the entire team. The excavation had been grueling, a relentless battle against time, nature, and the enigmatic traps set by whoever had first buried the treasure. The caisson creaked and groaned as it was lowered deeper into the earth, the sound echoing through the dense forest. As the drill bit churned through the soil, layers of history were peeled back, inch by inch. Suddenly, a shout erupted from the depths of the pit. "Stop the drill!" Jack Begley's voice was tinged with excitement and urgency. The team gathered around the edge, peering into the darkness below. Jack emerged, covered in mud but clutching something in his hand. It was a piece of stone, unlike any they had encountered before. Etched into its surface were symbols, unfamiliar, yet oddly resonant. Back in the war room, the team pored over the artifact, brushing away centuries of grime to reveal the intricate carvings. Dr. Lori Verderein, the team's historian, leaned in, her eyes wide with astonishment. "These aren't just any symbols," she murmured. "This is pre-Columbian script. We could be looking at evidence of a visit to Oak Island long before Columbus ever set foot in the New World." A hush fell over the room as the magnitude of her words sank in. The implications were staggering. If pre-Columbian explorers had reached Oak Island, what had they left behind? What treasures, what knowledge, might still be hidden beneath its surface? The team's excitement was palpable as they strategized their next steps. Marty, ever the pragmatist, reminded them of the importance of caution. "We need to authenticate this," he said, "and we need to do it quickly. This could change everything we thought we knew about the island." Meanwhile, Rick's mind raced with possibilities. He envisioned ancient ships navigating the treacherous waters of the Atlantic, their sails billowing as they approached the mysterious island. Who were these explorers? What drove them to venture so far from home? As night fell, the team gathered around a campfire, their faces illuminated by the flickering flames. They shared stories and theories, their imaginations ignited by the day's discovery. Gary Drayton, the team's metal detection expert, speculated about the treasures that might be buried alongside the artifact. "We could be sitting on a gold mine," he said, his eyes gleaming with excitement. Literally. The next morning, the team resumed their excavation with renewed vigor. The caisson was lowered deeper, each creak of the machinery bringing them closer to whatever secrets lay hidden below. With each scoop of earth, they uncovered more evidence: pottery shards, ancient tools, even fragments of what appeared to be a ship's hull. The island seemed to be awakening, yielding its mysteries to the persistent explorers. As they worked, a sense of camaraderie and shared purpose grew stronger. They were not just treasure hunters. They were historians, piecing together a puzzle that spanned centuries. In the war room, Dr. Verderein continued her research, cross-referencing the symbols on the stone with known pre-Columbian scripts. She was meticulous, her fingers dancing across the keyboard as she delved into ancient texts and obscure references. The more she uncovered, the more convinced she became that they were on the brink of a groundbreaking discovery. Rick and Marty watched her work, their anticipation growing with each passing hour. They knew that the artifact was just the beginning, a tantalizing hint of what lay beneath the surface. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the island, they felt a deep sense of connection to the explorers who had come before them. They were part of a legacy, a chain of adventurers drawn to the mysteries of Oak Island. That night, as the team gathered once more around the campfire, the air was thick with anticipation. They spoke in hushed tones, their voices carrying on the wind as they speculated about what the next day might bring. The island seemed to listen, the rustling leaves and distant waves a soothing backdrop to their excitement. The dawn brought with it a renewed sense of purpose. The team descended into the pit, their hearts pounding with anticipation.